Welcome to my channel. My name is Susan and I am a mentor for spiritually awakening women. This is my series on my near-death experience, which happened in August 2017 because of chronic and terrible Lyme disease. And these are the most resonant realizations I had from that experience. And my hope is that they will inspire you and fill you with hope, because they do me, and I think of them so often. I think of this experience so often. So I had just done number 8 last week, and this again, it kind of goes off of that same thing, where number 8 was, I knew I was wholly loved no matter what, period. Without any fluctuation or wavering or anything at all, I was wholly loved just like you. And in that same sense, today's tape goes along with that. And I'll just explain a little bit in case you haven't heard any of these other tapes. But so I ended up leaving my body that night. My guides actually came to me. I was crawling up the stairs, and I knew that was going to be my last day alive. But they gave me this intuition: get out of your body tonight and get help. And I did. I got out of my body, and this was a very actually long experience, and I was completely conscious for it the entire time, as if I'm talking to you right now. So this is not like I'm recalling a dream. I lived this. And for those of you who don't know, I was born clairvoyant, and this has always been a part of my life, but I had never astral traveled on command. But I did. I got out of my body, and again, there were many stops to this journey, but the one I'm talking about was the core of the journey, in which I merged with what we would call God. And I don't align to any religion. I just love God and love spirit. And if you do, I completely honor that, by the way. But for this part, when I was with God, I perceived him to be endless blazing rays of golden light, and I was immersed in it. I was steeped in it, my astral body, much like I've said this before, but much like a tea bag and a mug of tea. So I viscerally felt what God is made of. I was in him. We were merged. And I mentioned this last week too, but the feeling of love was so pure and so powerful, I actually prefer to call it freedom, because that love was impossible to even begin to try to relay in the English language. So I say, often I'll say, the word that we recognize that is most resonant to me about, what best describes God is freedom. And in that sense, and being in that space of being merged with him and being completely inundated, having him surround me and be all through me, we had this exchange, and it was without words, but it was effortless, and it was completely intimate, and at the same time impossibly sweeping. And just like I had felt I said this too, capital T truth, I knew I was wholly loved. To the point where earlier in another video, I'd said I knew I could have murdered someone and it would not have mattered. God would have received me in the very same way, because God is love, light, freedom, whatever you want to say. That is what he is made of. There is no wavering in that. And in this experience, I was also aware that there is no sin. There are no rules. There is no good or bad or right or wrong. I knew that with every cell of my astral body, whatever you want to call it. That was another heaping, shocking load of capital T truth that I experienced during this time. Coming to the next morning, I kind of took this further. But I could see the way I had lived my life since I was a kid. I could see how I'd really made every decision based on impossible spectrums of what I thought you thought of me and my fear of that. You know, I had committed long ago no one would ever know I was clairvoyant, because as a child it was not received. You know, I only had my parents, and they didn't understand and they didn't believe. So I bottled that up my whole life and grew to believe that something was really wrong with me, that I was either crazy, and eventually that kind of settled into a sense of I'm unlovable. And getting this sense of like, there is nothing we have to do or have not to do. There are utterly no rules, and there is no sin. There is nothing we could ever do to incite any other reception by this source energy other than love, light, and freedom. It's not possible. But down here, you know, we do have that perception of separation. And we did it obviously intentionally because we want to explore, and we want to expand, and we want to learn in this way. And in order for us to do that here in these incarnations, we do need that sense of separation. Or we wouldn't be able to play these roles for each other and learn these lessons. I don't like that word lesson because it feels punitive, but you know what I mean. But I knew that 100%. The only energetic presence after we pass that would review how we had spent our time down here and been like, I could see I would have wanted to do that differently. The only like review type energy in that manner stems from us. There is no outside punitive force. Like people often talk about karma in this way. It makes me crazy. That's no longer how this goes down. And God itself, that source energy, can only be one way. That God, as I experienced it, was devoid of personality, devoid of opinion. There was no wavering in that source energy. It was sheer, impossibly pure love, to the point where I'm more comfortable even calling it freedom. There is never anything that radiates from that source energy other than what it is. And if there is a review process, when, you know, there was a point when I threw up something on this huge, like, IMAX screen. But I did that. And I perceived that and observed my emotions about that. It was me. It was not God. So if this in any way possibly dissolves a sense of pressure, or a sense of walking on eggshells, or some kind of a fear, future fear of, my God, what's going to happen when my life is tallied up against me? If in any way my recount of this experience can dissolve that for you, that is really my goal. And that said, to also kind of take this in and consider, what does this mean? Because we are made of that energy. And just like Wayne Dyer used to say, you'll never get apple juice from an orange. We are made of that energy that I spoke of. That love, light, and freedom. So how could we possibly be anything different in our core essence? So I want to leave that with you, and I really hope that in whatever way this inspires you and maybe opens the door to you considering self-love as something actually obtainable. and desirable. Like, to know that there is no cosmic force that created all of us up there. Like how we almost speak of Santa. Oh, check. Oh, minus. Oh, check. No, not at all. I hope, most of all, this could just dissolve some of that tension or fear or negative imagination that so often swirls around about these topics. So all my love to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a woman, please do consider joining Divining Women, which is my closed Facebook group. We have live Q&As every Thursday, and they're awesome. But to all of you guys, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on YouTube soon. Take care.